Salvete, and welcome to Magister Peace Theater. In today's Magister Peace Theater, we're going to learn all about Roman meals. What kinds of things did Roman boys and girls, and Roman adults for that matter, eat for their breakfast, their lunch, their dinner, and so forth? Many in the audience already know, I'm sure, the Latin words for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, namely ientaculum, prandium, and cena. But in what follows, you'll also learn the words for appetizer, gustatio, and for dessert, secunda mensa. You're also going to learn what it was like to sit down in the dining room of the house and have the meal served. So we'll learn a little bit about the triclinium and how the couches of the triclinium were arranged and what went into bringing the meal to the table and so forth. So enjoy and sit felix convivium. Bon appetit.
Food and meals. Just like people living in the 21st century, ancient Romans ate foods that grew abundantly in their own country, as well as foods that were imported from other parts of the known world. While some ancient Romans ate simple meals, others indulged in elaborate banquets in the same way that modern families either watch their budgets or go to fancy restaurants all the time. Although there are some basic differences, the number of similarities between eating customs in ancient Rome and in modern cities will probably surprise you. Romans were familiar with many of the same foods that you can find in your local grocery store. Early Romans ate apples, pears, plums, grapes, and olives. And as provinces were added to the empire, they were able to obtain peaches, apricots, pomegranates, cherries, and lemons, which they then planted and cultivated in Italy. Romans also ate many vegetables that you'll recognize: artichokes, asparagus, beans, beets, cabbage, carrots, cucumbers, onions, peas, turnips, lettuce, and radishes, to name just a few. The Romans depended on grain, frumentum, primarily wheat, for their bread and porridge, and when supplies ran low in Italy, it became necessary to import wheat from the provinces to feed the growing population. Fresh fish was prized by the Romans, although most families could afford to purchase only salted fish. Pork was the Romans' favorite meat, but they also ate mutton, goats, rabbits, dormice, chickens, ducks, pigeons, peacocks, and other wild fowl and game. During the days of the Republic, beef was consumed only after a steer or cow had been sacrificed to the gods. While you may never have feasted upon dormice or peacocks, most of the food listed is probably familiar to you and readily available. What may surprise you are the items that the Romans did not eat or drink: oranges, tomatoes, potatoes, butter, sugar, tea, and coffee were unknown to them. Olives and grapes, two fruits that probably fall into the category of finger food for you, were of incredible importance to the Romans. The olive tree, as you may know from the story of Athena's contest with Poseidon, was considered by the Greeks to be the better gift because of its many uses. The Romans, too, found the olive valuable not only as an article of food and as an ingredient in recipes, but also as a source of oil for cooking, for lamps, for applying perfume, and for cleansing the body at the baths. Grapes could be eaten fresh from the vine or preserved as raisins, but they were most valuable to Romans in the making of wine. Since wine mixed with water was the preferred drink of Romans of all classes, they devoted time and energy to viticulture in Italy. Bacchus, one of the 12 Olympians and a son of Jupiter, was worshipped in Italy as the god of wine. Although many movies depicting ancient Rome show people attending lavish banquets with never-ending rounds of wine, this behavior was not typical of an average Roman's daily life. The Romans ate 3 meals a day, just like we do. They ate their first meal shortly after they woke up. Their breakfast, ientaculum, usually consisted of bread, raisins, olives, and cheese, very much like the toast and fruit which many of us eat soon after rising. A Roman could also purchase a piece of shortcake or a pancake on the way to school or work, in very much the same way as we stop for fast food when we're in a hurry. A Roman's lunch, prandium, was similar to the midday meal you might take to school in your lunchbox. Romans ate bread with leftover meat or cheese. They had a wide variety of fruits and nuts. They were fond of salads. After their prandium, Romans took a midday rest, a custom that's common in many countries where the climate's very warm. The evening meal was the main meal of the day, and it traditionally included 3 courses. The Roman appetizers, gustatio, were raw vegetables, salted or pickled fish, and eggs, and they ate these foods in the same way that you nibble on chips and salsa, or veggies and dip, or deviled eggs before you hear, "Dinner's served." The Roman main course, cena, was meat and vegetables, foods that probably appear on your dinner plate. The third course was dessert, secunda mensa, at which Romans served pastries, sweets, nuts, and fruit. Think about the cake or pie that you hope to receive after you've eaten your dinner. The Romans looked forward to the same sort of treats. If you are a vegetarian, you would have wanted to live during the early Republic when most people did not eat meat because of the cost. It was not until the late Republic that formal dinners became popular. Dinner was served in a special dining room, triclinium, where 9 people could recline on 3 couches, rather than sit on benches around a table, as was the custom in earlier centuries. The formality of these dinners extended to the seating arrangement on the couches. The social status of the guests determined who would have the places of honor, much as organizers of formal dinners today reserve the head table for distinguished guests. In ancient Rome, as in the modern world, it was customary to wash up before eating. You probably stand at the sink with a bar of soap and wash your hands in order to remove dirt and bacteria that should not come in contact with your food. Romans dipped their hands into bowls of water provided by slaves, both at the beginning of the meal and between the courses. Since silverware was not generally used, everyone's fingers became increasingly greasy and sticky as the meal progressed. A Roman's napkin, the mappa, was used to dry the hands after dipping them in the water. The mappa had a secondary use as a doggy bag. Romans sometimes brought their own napkins, ranging in size from a traditional napkin to a small tablecloth, and wrapped up food that was left over from the meal. Some Romans filled up their mappae as the courses were being served, and thus were guaranteed meals for the next day. There's a famous Latin expression, ab ovo usque ad mala, which translates as from the egg to the apples. Whatever could this mean? Well, if you look at the order of a Roman cena, you'll see that eggs were an appetizer served as part of the gustus, the first course. Apples were part of the secunda mensa, dessert. Thus, the expression ab ovo usque ad mala signifies something that runs from beginning to end. Other expressions used in English that are similar are from soup to nuts or from A to Z. If you open up a Latin dictionary and look up secunda, you'll see that it means second. If you look up mensa, you'll see that it means table. So how does the second table become dessert? To begin with, it all has to do with the construction of the table used in the triclinium. As you've learned from your readings, guests sat round the table on 3 couches. This arrangement left room for the servants to bring in the different courses. Now, what would be the most efficient way of clearing the table between the main courses and dessert when there are 9 parties seated at the table and not much room? Easy. You simply remove the used tabletop and replace it with one filled with fruits and pastries and so forth. Thus, you're providing the second table for secunda mensa. When a Roman man invited a friend over for dinner, he was called the hospes, or host. His friend was also called the hospes, or guest. How could one word mean both things? The answer is based upon an ancient custom whereby patres familias would form alliances with each other in order to have safe housing and food when traveling, because public accommodations were often dirty or unsafe. This alliance, hospitium, might be formed with a handshake, an exchange of family tokens, or with letters of introduction. However it was symbolized, it guaranteed a safe place where, let's say, Marcus might be the host for his guest Lucius one day, and later on Lucius might be the host for his guest Marcus. Moreover, hospitium extended to all members of the families. Olim erat vir. Vir, nomine Jordanius, est pater familias. Jordanius Romae habitat. Jordanius familiam habet. In familia sunt filia, filiusque, infans, materque. Familia in triclinio sedet. Familia ientaculum consumit. Eheu est difficilis. Familia cibum ientaculi non habet. Familia est esuriens. Dende familia prandium consumit. Eheu est difficilis. Familia cibum prandii non habet. Familia est esuriens. Dende familia cenam consumit. Eheu est difficilis. Familia cibum cenae non habet. Familia est esuriens. Dende familia secundam mensam consumit. Eheu est difficilis. Familia cibum secundae mensae non habet. Familia est esuriens. Familia cibos non habet, sed in triclinio sunt cela, duo lecti, et mensa. Ergo, pater mensam consumit, mater primum lectum consumit, filia secundum lectum consumit, filius celam consumit. Infans consumit nihil, infans est tristis. The hungry family. Once there was a man. The man named Jordanius is the pater familias. Jordanius lives in Rome. Jordanius has a family. In the family are a daughter and son, a baby, and mother. The family sits in the dining room. The family eats breakfast. Alas, it's difficult. The family does not have breakfast food. The family's hungry. Then the family eats lunch. Alas, it's difficult. The family does not have lunch food. The family is hungry. Then the family eats dinner. Alas, it is difficult. The family does not have dinner food. The family is hungry. Then the family eats dessert. Alas, it is difficult. The family does not have dessert food. The family is hungry. The family does not have food, but in the dining room are a chair, 2 couches, and a table. Therefore the father eats the table, the mother eats the first couch, the daughter eats the second couch, the son eats the chair, the baby eats nothing. The baby is sad. Zois et Antipoder. Zois Antipatrum amat. Antipater Zoem amat. Heracleides, pater Zois, matrimonium concurrit. Zeno, pater Antipatris, matrimonium concurrit. Patres familias matrimonium concurrunt. Zois Antipatrum nubit. Antipater Zoem nubit. Zois et Antipater in insula habitant. Nunc pugnant. Zois aprum amat. Antipater carotas amat. Zois pulum amat. Antipater fabas amat. Zois capras amat. Antipater mala amat. Zois carnes amat. Antipater legumina amat. Tamen Zois Antipatrum amat. Antipater Zoem amat. Quid dicere possum? Contraria contrariis curantur. Zois and Antipoder. Zois loves Antipater. Antipater loves Zois. Heracleides, the father of Zois, agrees to the marriage. Zeno, the father of Antipater, agrees to the marriage. The heads of the family agree to the marriage. Zois marries Antipater. Antipater marries Zois. Zois and Antipater live in an apartment. However, they fight. Zois loves boar. Antipater loves carrots. Zois loves chicken. Antipater loves beans. Zois loves goats. Antipater loves apples. Zois loves meat. Antipater loves vegetables. Nevertheless, Zois loves Antipater. Antipater loves Zois. What can I say? Opposites attract.
Panis celeris. Celer erat servus quinti granii veri. Quintus celerem ad forum ire iusit. Celer ad forum ivit. Celer ornatricem salutavit. Ornatrix celerem salutavit. Celer tonsorem salutavit. Tonsor celerem salutavit. Celer tabernariam et tabernarium salutavit. Tabernaria et tabernarius celerem salutavit. Tandem celer pistorem salutavit. Pistor celerem salutavit. Celer panes emere volvit. Celer duos panes rogavit. Pistor
octo aires rogavit, celer pistori octo aires dedit, pistor nomen celeris in panibus impresit, pistor celeri duos panes dedit, celer dixit, gratias tibi ago, celer ad vilam revenit. Panis celeris. Celer is a slave of Quintus Granius Verus. Quintus ordered Celer to go to the forum. Celer went to the forum. Celer greeted the hairdresser. The hairdresser greeted Celer. Celer greeted the barber. The barber greeted Celer. Celer greeted the female and male shopkeepers. The female and male shopkeepers greeted Celer. At last, Celer greeted the baker. The baker greeted Celer. Celer wanted to buy bread. Celer asked for 2 loaves of bread. The baker asked for 8 small coins. Celer gave the baker 8 small coins. The baker stamped the name of Celer in the bread. The baker gave Celer 2 loaves of bread. Celer said, "Thank you." Celer returned to the villa. Smyrna candidatum amat. Smyrna Corinthi nata erat. Smyrna de Corinto ad Pompeius iter fecit. Nunc Smyrna Pompeiis habitat, sed Smyrna est Graeca. Smyrna est tabernaria. Taberna cibos et vina vendit. Lucius Popidius ab Smyrna cibos et vina emit. Popidius Smyrnam et Graecas sustinet. Nunc Popodius est candidatus aedili. Smyrna Popidium sustinet. Smyrna titulum in taberna scribit. Scribit Lucium Popidium aedili Smyrna rogat. Smyrna likes the candidate. Smyrna was born in Corinth. Smyrna traveled from Corinth to Pompeii. Now Smyrna lives in Pompeii, but Smyrna is Greek. Smyrna is a shop owner. The shop sells foods and wines. Lucius Popidius buys food and wine from Smyrna. Popidius supports Smyrna and the Greeks. Now Popidius is a candidate for idol or treasurer. Smyrna supports Popidius. Smyrna writes a slogan on the shop. She writes, Smyrna asks for Lucius Popidius for idol.